I know it's hard to believe, but Fran is still socializing. That's why you're my favorite, Fran. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's presentation of our 11th class to be inducted into the IVCC-LPO Hall of Fame. I'm Tracy Morris, IVCC's 11th president, and a very proud graduate from the class of 1991 of IVCC. On behalf of IVCC, our foundation, and everyone connected to our college, it's my privilege to welcome you to the IVCC-LPO Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Totally forgot to put my picture up there, darn. The foundation created the hall in 2008 to honor our most influential alumni, instructors, administrators, and benefactors, all individuals and teams of exceptional achievement. Today, we honor our inductees who are exceptional people, and each and every one is truly deserving of a place among the brightest stars in our college's 100-year-plus history. It's inspiring. This is wonderful. This is our biggest crowd ever. That so many friends and family members from our Illinois Valley Community College family, from our wider community, and from beyond are here to join us today. We are so glad that you're here. As I introduce our special guests, please wave or stand as you are able, and that we can recognize you for the contributions you've made to our college, and I'll ask you to hold your applause until we do them all together. From our IVCC Foundation, we have Dr. Heather Hammett, Tom Henson, Edgar Lucero Castillo, and former directors Frank Zeller and Jane Getz. In addition, joining us from our Board of Trustees, our Chair, Jay McCracken, Secretary, Dr. Maureen Rebholz, Bill Hunt, and former trustee, Jane Getz. Our trustees and our foundation directors serve without compensation and provide leadership and guidance for our college and foundation, and we are so thankful that you're here with us today. In addition, we have, I believe, just one former Hall of Famer here with us today, Carol Caricio Haas Swanson. You are down front, I think. Where are you? Could you please stand up to be recognized? When I say that it takes a village to do this job, that is so true. To do the work that we do every day for our students and our community takes the most dedicated employees, and I'm so thankful for our faculty, staff, and administrators, both past and present. And I've seen a lot of you here today. Could I ask all faculty, staff, and administrators of the college, past and present, including our former president, Dr. Corcoran, to please stand to be recognized. There's a lot. I know there's more of you. Stand up, please. And finally, I cannot say enough about our foundation team for putting this event together. Tracy Beatty, Sue Monroe, and Donna Swiskowski put together countless hours to make sure that today is so special for our nominees, it's special for all of you joining us, and it commemorates the legacy that you had for IVCC and LPO. And we are so thankful to Tracy, Susan, and Donna. Please join me in applauding them. One of the best parts of this job is the opportunity to meet and get to know so many past and current Hall of Fame members, former students, employees. Each one has made an impact on LPO and IVCC, whether it's a faculty or staff member who shapes the lives of generations of students, as a leader on our campus and in our community, as a donor for our scholarships or for our building projects, or in their area of expertise in their field. These individuals have all changed lives in one way or another, and we are just beginning to scratch the surface as we honor our Hall of Famers. As you know, over the past few years, we have been celebrating 100+ years of excellence in education in our community. The greatest part is hearing those stories. No matter where I go, I have people who share their LPO or IVCC stories, whether that's stories of their parents or grandparents, children or grandchildren, siblings, and most of all, the experience they had here at IVCC. I am tremendously proud to be an IVCC graduate. It shaped me in ways that I never expected, and I never even knew that I needed. So to be able to come back to be the president of the college has truly changed my life. I thank you all for being here to celebrate the great accomplishments of these tremendous alumni. Oh, I didn't see my graduation picture was up there. Oh my goodness. Our first nominee into the IVCC-LPO Hall of Fame class of 2026 is being inducted posthumously. Therese Brongel Cotton Uphouse, LPO 1959, passed away in 1998. We would like to begin our ceremony honoring her with a moment of silence. Thank you. I would now like to introduce Susan Monroe, IVCC Foundation Alumni Coordinator, to announce our first inductee.
Welcome, everyone. It's so exciting to see everybody, and I'm so excited to share these stories. So our first inductee into the IVCC-LPO Hall of Fame class of 2026 is Therese Cotton Uphouse, LPO 1959. Therese was nominated by a group that included longtime friend Marilyn Smidzinski, niece Joanne Walden, daughter Christine Yarkowski, son Daryl Cotton, and IVCC chemistry instructor Dr. Matt Joel. Therese was named after Saint Therese of Lisieux, a French Catholic nun known for showing deep love and devotion through small everyday acts rather than grand gestures. Fittingly, that same quiet determination would define Therese's life, and as her children observed, her ending passion for science. Born Therese Brongel, she grew up in LaSalle as the daughter of a watchmaker and primary school teacher, a combination that might just be the perfect origin for a scientist. From her father, she inherited a curiosity for how things worked, and perhaps the patience to actually take them apart. From her mother came a deep respect for education and learning. Therese attended St. Patrick's Grade School and graduated from LaSalle Peru Township High School in 1957 with high honors. She balanced academics with involvement in chorus and in math, a combination that proved she could both harmonize notes and equations with equal skill. Family life was full of warmth and a little mischief. Living next door to her sister, Therese and her friends would famously sneak over from their slumber party and make prank phone calls because her sister's house was the only one that had a phone. It seems even future scientists appreciate a good experiment in social reaction. Her nieces Joanne and Linda also remember her as a talented pianist, someone who could shift easily from scientific precision to musical expression. As a teenager, Therese worked at the LaSalle Theater on First Street, proof that even future pioneers in spectroscopy get their start in CinemaScope. Therese began her college journey at LaSalle Peru Oglesby Junior College in 1957, graduating magna cum laude in 1959 and earning high honors throughout her time. She continued her love of music through choir and stepped into the stage in productions such as Brigadoon and Annie Get Your Gun. In the latter, she and her friend Marilyn appeared as extras, demonstrating early on her willingness to take on any role, even if it wasn't yet headliner status. It was during this time that she formed a lifelong friendship with Marilyn. Their bond was so strong that they would later stand in each other's weddings, a testament to the lasting connections made during these formative years. After LPO, Therese attended the Bradley University, earning her degree in chemistry in 1961. She later pursued her doctorate at Northwestern University, where she began her groundbreaking work in spectroscopic investigations of chlorophyll, leading to the first of many highly cited scientific publications. Following her PhD, she stayed at Northwestern as a postdoctoral fellow, refining her expertise in spectroscopy, essentially learning to listen to molecules in ways most of us can't even imagine. Her academic and professional journey took her to numerous institutions, including the Illinois Institute of Technology, the University of Nebraska, and ultimately Iowa State University, where she became a senior chemist. Therese built her career during a time when science was overwhelmingly male-dominated, yet through her work and presence, she helped open doors for women entering into the field. While working at ITT, the college had received support from the National Science Foundation from their Women in Science program designed to facilitate re-entry of women who completed science degrees but were either unemployed or underemployed. In one interview, she thoughtfully addressed the question of why more women were not actively encouraged into science, reflecting both her awareness and her advocacy. Let's listen to that segment.
Because of the job market's increased demand for analytical chemists, the Illinois Institute of Technology is offering a new career re-entry program for women in science. And here to tell us more about the program, I'd like for you to meet my guest. First, Dr. Ken Shug. He's professor of chemistry. Alongside him is Rosaire Hall. She's a student. And alongside her is Dr. Therese Cotton, who is an assistant professor of chemistry. Good morning. It's nice to have all three of you here. Do women belong in science? Yes or no, or maybe, or sometimes, or today they did. Today, yes. 2 years ago, no. Therese, what do you think?
Well, I agree with Rosaire that it probably was partly due to the fact that women weren't encouraged to have higher education in general. The sciences themselves, I think, are very demanding and require a lot of commitment time-wise. And I think for that reason, women tended to go into professions where they could do, say, secretarial work part-time, whereas this is very difficult to do in science. Also, if you have a family, it's difficult to leave science and then come back into it. It's changing so quickly, you very quickly become out of date. So it was not a career that you can easily fit into routine with housework and having a family. I think that was one of the major reasons.
Therese began her career studying corn proteins and starch at USDA lab in Peoria, because in Illinois, even groundbreaking science often starts with corn. In 1966, she joined Argonne National Laboratory in Lamont, Illinois, beginning a distinguished research career that would earn her international recognition in analytical chemistry. Therese joined Iowa State University in 1989. Her colleague and person who hired her, Dr. George A. Krause, noted the immediate impact she had on the department, not only through her research, but also through her teaching. As a result of her many discoveries, Therese received substantial federal and industrial support throughout her career at Iowa State. She had a unique gift, making science approachable for even students who were initially intimidated by it. Her introductory course became so popular, the students may have entered nervously, but left genuinely enjoying chemistry, which is no small achievement. Therese's research accomplishments were extraordinary. She published extensively in top scientific journals. She pioneered the first surface-enhanced Raman scattering SERS study on proteins, work that remains highly cited. Her contributions laid groundwork for modern applications such as virus detection, including our COVID-19, cancer diagnostics, and environmental testing. She received numerous honors, including Marie Gephardt Mayer Distinguished Scholar at Argonne in 1995, Bradley University Distinguished Alumnus Award in 1997, and Lester W. Strock Award from the American Chemical Society in 1997. In 2000, the journal Biopolymers dedicated an entire issue to her work, inviting peer-reviewed research papers from leading experts in the field, an honor reserved for researchers whose impact is truly lasting. Dr. Matt Joel, IVCC chemistry instructor, was introduced to the group nominating Teresa, only to find out that one of his professors during his graduate studies at Iowa State in chemistry was an LPO alumnus. He had this to say about her: with all of her awards, publications, grants, and accomplishments, she remained a kind, humble, compassionate professor who was universally respected by her students. Therese had 4 children: Daryl, Greg, Christine from her first marriage with Dale Cotton, and Sarah with her second husband, Robert Uphouse. Greg passed away in 1998 from a tragic accident. All of them had beautiful things to share about their mother. Daryl's comment was, "As children, we are molded to adults by the sum total of our earliest influences." As I look back, I realize I was fortunate to have had that influence from my mother, Dr. Therese Cotton Uphouse. Chrissy's memory was she always encouraged us to learn and try to find your passion. Sarah says, "My mother was extremely committed to science. It was not just a career for her. She was curious about everything, whether it was knowing the plants on our hikes or the constellations. Her obituary tribute in photosynthesis research said, Teresa was proud of how her children not only chipped in to help her at home, but also became independent so she could achieve her goal. Her parenting style was similar to how she would later train her students. She emphasized how things worked, encouraging logical reasoning to solve problems and stressed independence. She was fair and non-judgmental, and she was with everyone who knew her. She also inspired her extended family. Her niece Linda went on to earn a PhD in physiology and spent 40 years teaching at Loyola, and her grandson Eric, not having known Therese, continues in her footsteps doing research, proof that Therese's influence extended far beyond her own children. Therese's life was tragically cut short in 1998 at the age of 59 after a 4-year battle with ovarian cancer. True to who she was, she approached her illness the way she approached everything, with curiosity, determination, and concern for others. She even sought treatments around the world and continued helping fellow patients along the way. Therese's husband, Robert, had suddenly passed away a few years before her, but Dale, her first husband, also an LPO graduate, was there for her constantly, supporting her through her illness along with her children, family, and students, colleagues, and those who she touched. Even in her final days, her message to her children was simple and powerful. Be sure to make your family first. Today, her legacy continues through the Cotton Up House Award at Iowa State University, supporting promising graduate students early in their careers. It is a fitting tribute, encouraging the next generation of scientists just as she did throughout their life. Not through grand gestures, but through steady encouragement, curiosity, and belief in others. We proudly welcome Therese Cotton Uphouse posthumously into the IVCC-LPO Hall of Fame class of 2026. Please join me in welcoming Eric Yarkowski, who is accepting on behalf of Therese. That is her grandson. Eric?
Hi everyone, and thank you Illinois Valley Community College for inviting my family here to celebrate my grandmother, as well as her legacy with this award, and thank you for allowing me to speak on her behalf. My career in research has so far been short, and I appreciate the opportunity to stand here in her place. While I never had the privilege of meeting my grandmother, my mom has spent time over the last couple of months getting in contact with past colleagues and friends. One consistent theme in the anecdotes and memories that were shared with us was her unwavering dedication to her undergraduate, graduate, and postdoc students, as well as her commitment to her research. One of the beautiful things about a career in research is the continuation of progress through the passing of the torch, or proverbial passing of the torch through shared knowledge and skills. Therese's legacy will be carried on, and while her name may eventually be forgotten, her dedication to scientific progress and to the education of the next generation will be maintained by the legacy of the students she brought up and the time she dedicated to learning simply for the sake of discovery. The dedication and passion that she gave to her career, which started here at IVCC, is something that I can only aspire to achieve and maintain during my own career. We as a family so deeply appreciate you all continuing to honor her memory and her contributions. Thank you.
I would like to now introduce Dr. Tracy Morris, IVCC President, to announce our next inductee.
Our next inductee into the IVCC-LPO Hall of Fame class of 2026 is Susan D. Rupert. IVCC 1974 and 75. Susan was nominated by her good friend, Marcy Kaler. Susan, known to family and friends as Susie or Sue, I messed it up yesterday too, Stahovich, grew up in LaSalle, Illinois, with one older sister and two younger brothers. She attended St. Patrick's Catholic School before continuing on to LP High School. Susan often jokes that she only learned the alphabet by simply learning to spell her last name. Life in the Illinois Valley was defined by a close-knit sense of community, where everyone knew each other, doors were rarely locked, and there was always a feeling of safety and belonging. The region's cultural heritage, shaped by Polish, Italian, German, and other Eastern European influences, was reflected in its food and traditions. Weekends followed a familiar rhythm: fried fish on Fridays and tavern-style fried chicken on Saturdays at places like Essel's, Flo's, or Castle Park. Susan's personal favorite was the Igloo, where she still insists that the cheese pork with the works could solve just about anything. Many of us agree. While many things have changed over time, these traditions still hold strong in the Illinois Valley. One of her favorite childhood memories is of downtown LaSalle during the holidays. The streets glowed with decorations and store windows, especially at the Tri-City Frock Shop, which captured the imagination of every child. As Susan recalls, it was something you looked forward to every year. Susan's calling to nursing came early. At just 6 years old, after undergoing an appendectomy, she became fascinated not only by the experience itself, but by the nurses who cared for her. In that moment, she decides, that's what I'm going to do. Her interest deepened through the Cherry Ames book series, stories of a nurse whose career spanning exciting and varied roles around the world. Susan was inspired by the idea that nursing could offer both purpose and possibility. With this goal in mind, she pursued advanced science courses and even studied Latin in high school. She also worked as a candy striper, known as an angelette, at St. Mary's Hospital, gaining early exposure to the healthcare environment. Susan's path to the IVCC nursing program was not part of her original plan, but it would become one of the most defining decisions of her life. Initially, she planned to attend a four-year university right after high school. However, as a first-generation college student, she chose to begin at IVCC as a practical step before transferring to the University of Illinois. By the fall of 1972, she expected to complete her final semester at IVCC before transferring. But in that same year, a sharp increase in tuition at public universities made continuing her education financially difficult. Faced with this challenge, Susan made the difficult decision to withdraw, find work, and save money. When she went to formally drop her course, a counselor asked a simple but life-changing question: have you considered the nursing program here? Susan hadn't, but that quickly changed. That same very afternoon, she found herself sitting in her first nursing class, without books, uniform, or supplies, and already 3 weeks behind. She didn't ease in, she dove in completely. Despite that late start, Susan quickly caught up and excelled. As one of the younger students in the program, she was surrounded by classmates balancing families, careers, and other responsibilities. She credits these seasoned students with helping to guide and support her, particularly during those early clinical experiences. Susan also recalls the lasting influence of nursing instructor Dolores Dukowitz, who emphasized the importance of professional involvement. Inspired by this message, Susan joined the American Nurses Association on her graduation day, a commitment she has maintained throughout her years. While in the program, Susan worked her way up at St. Mary's Hospital in housekeeping, and then at People's Hospital, eventually becoming a nurse assistant. She loved talking to the nursing staff about their roles. After graduating, she became a registered nurse at St. Margaret's Hospital in Spring Valley, while continuing science coursework at IVCC. When she left IVCC, Susan held both an Associate in Applied Science in Nursing and an Associate in Science, demonstrating her determination and ability to turn an unexpected detour into an extraordinary opportunity. 1 year later, Susan continued her education at Northern Illinois University, earning her Bachelor of Science in Nursing while working full-time as an RN. She commuted regularly to DeKalb and eventually relocated when her studies required it. During this time, she worked night shifts at the campus clinic, an experience that brought unexpected moments. From treating a student bitten by piranhas at a party to another bitten by a squirrel, Susan gained a truly well-rounded clinical education. Her passion for teaching began early. In 1977, she returned to IVCC as a clinical instructor while continuing her full-time hospital work. Susan later married Mike Rupert, who was in the Air Force, and together they began a journey that took them across the globe. Living in Okinawa, Japan, she worked at the U.S. Naval Regional Medical Center, gaining valuable international experience. Their next stop was San Antonio, where Susan furthered her education, earning her Master of Science in Nursing from the University of Texas Health Science Center, San Antonio, while working in critical care. Her commitment to excellence continued with a PhD in nursing from Texas Women's University and the completion of a family nurse practitioner postgraduate certificate from the University of Texas Medical Branch at Galveston. Susan began her full-time academic career at the University of Iowa from 1979 to 1981. In 1981, she moved to Houston, Texas during a period of rapid growth and opportunity. There, she joined the Methodist Hospital, working in nursing education. In 1989, she joined the faculty at the University of Texas Health Science Center at Houston, where she has remained ever since. Though she never expected to stay in Texas long term, she often jokes that the warmer winters made that decision easy. Throughout her career, Susan has built expertise in nursing education, accreditation, and advanced practice. She has been a leader at regional, national, and international levels, serving as a consultant and a speaker around the world and in numerous professional organizations. Most recently, she served as a panelist on accreditation at the National Organization of Nurse Practitioner Faculty's annual meeting and has been invited to speak at the International Council of Nurses Advanced Practice Network meeting, an event being held in the United States for the first time this year. Her consulting work has also taken her to places such as Oman and Hong Kong. Susan has been named a fellow in 6 professional organizations, an honor that recognizes sustained excellence, leadership, and lasting contributions to the field. She considers her induction into the Fellow of the American Academy of Nursing to be one of the highlights of her career, as it is a distinction that is awarded to a very select few. Susan serves as a project director for a $2.6 million HRSA Advanced Nursing Education Workforce Traineeship Grant and contributes extensively as an author, editor, and reviewer for numerous journals and books. Her numerous awards include recognition as a distinguished alumna, visionary leader, and outstanding professor, each reflecting her dedication to advanced nursing education and practice. Susan and Mike have 2 children, Sarah and Michael, and 5 grandchildren. She values the lifelong friendships she developed through nursing, including close friends Marcy Kaler and Sandy Ernett. Many of her strongest relationships have come through professional involvement across the country. So much that her son once jokingly asked, "Don't you have any friends in Houston?" Susan is an avid traveler and believes that international travel is the purest form of education, offering a deeper appreciation of cultures around the world. Some of her favorite destinations include Italy, Paris, and China. Today, Susan continues her work at the University of Texas Health Science Center at Houston, Cizik School of Nursing. She serves as professor and associate dean of graduate studies, combining administrative leadership with teaching and clinical work as a nurse practitioner. Outside of her professional life, Susan enjoys gardening, reading, live music, and caring for animals, something reflected in her home, which includes several rescue cats and a dog. We are so excited and proud to welcome Susan D. Rupert into the IVCC-LPO Hall of Fame, class of 2026. Please join me in welcoming to the stage Susan Rupert.
I would like to thank the IVCC-LPO Foundation and the Alumni Association for this extraordinary honor. To be recognized and welcomed into the Hall of Fame is both humbling and deeply meaningful to me. I'm grateful to the selection committee and to the college for valuing education, service, and the journeys that begin right here. Standing here truly feels like coming home to family and friends. My nursing education at IVCC was the springboard for everything that followed in my life and career. It provided far more than clinical knowledge or academic preparation. It instilled confidence, discipline, curiosity, and a sense of purpose. It helped me believe that I belonged, that I had something to contribute, and that doors were meant to be opened. From that foundation, my over 50-year career in nursing unfolded in ways I could never have imagined, filled with adventure, opportunity, and meaningful work. I've had the privilege of serving as a clinician, an educator, scholar, consultant, and organizational leader, among other roles with opportunities to contribute at regional, national, and international levels. And through every role, the values shaped here at IVCC, service, responsibility, excellence, and compassion, have remained my guiding principles. That is the power of community colleges. Community colleges do not just educate, they launch futures. They create opportunities, open doors, and help students imagine possibilities that they may not have seen for themselves. IVCC did exactly that for me, and I know it continues to do that for countless students every year. Every success I have experienced traces back to the strong foundation that was built here. I'm grateful to the faculty who believed in me and challenged me, for mentors that encouraged me to aim higher, and for classmates who walked alongside me. No individual success happens in isolation. It is always the result of a community willing to invest in others. I'd also like to thank my family for their unwavering support through my education and career. I want to thank my husband, Mike, whom I ironically met in a chemistry class at IVCC. And from the very beginning, he's been my partner in every way, supporting my goals, walking beside me through every chapter of this journey. I'm also grateful to my children, Sarah and Michael, who unfortunately were not able to be here. They're in Texas caring for my 5 grandchildren. And although they're not here, their encouragement and pride have been constants in my life. They supported me through many years of education, professional growth, and service that often took me away from home, and I'm deeply thankful to them. This recognition is both an honor and a reminder of responsibility to continue mentoring, giving back, advocating for access to high-quality education, and to my profession, nursing. If my personal journey offers any lesson, I hope it is this: where you begin does not limit where you go. I also want to close, because I'm from Houston, with a quote from the late Dr. Roy Spence, who was a former NASA scientist, who said, "Don't spend another second of your life trying to be average at what you're bad at. Spend the rest of your life trying to be great at what you're good at." And to that, I'll add, where your passion lies. So thank you again to IVCC-LPO for this incredible honor and your continued commitment to education, opportunity, and community. Thank you.
Our next inductee into the IVCC-LPO Hall of Fame, class of 2026, is Gary Peterlin, IVCC 1969. Gary was nominated by fellow associate and IVCC Foundation Director Edgar Lucero Castillo. I love this slide because I can't find hardly a picture where Gary's not smiling, which he still does today. Gary's story begins with hard work, family, and just a little bit of mischief. He was the son of an immigrant. His grandfather came from Yugoslavia to Oglesby, followed by Gary's grandmother, his father, and siblings, bringing little more than their Bible, cookbook, and musical instrument. When Gary was born, he was the youngest by far. His brother, Ron, was 15, Adolf 18, and his sister, Shirley, 20. By 5 months of age, Gary was already an uncle. While other kids were learning their ABCs, Gary was learning how not to get blamed for things. He often said he had 2 mothers, his mom and his sister, and between them, there wasn't much room for negotiation. Gary's home was always full of family, music, and food. Regular family gatherings meant accordions, harmonicas, and plenty to eat. If you left hungry, it was your own fault. Being the youngest didn't mean easy. Gary had chores cleaning the garage and basement, picking up around the fruit trees, polishing the family's shoes before church, but he mastered delegation early. About an hour before his dad got home, chores became games as he would gather the younger children in his neighborhood, and suddenly everyone was competing to pick up sticks and receive popsicles that Gary provided. That initiative carried into his jobs, cooking at the root beer stand, selling newspapers, cutting grass, working as a pin setter at the Dickinson House bowling alley, and laboring on construction, which actually, that construction was the construction of the new IVCC building as well. No matter the job, Gary worked hard and took pride in doing it well, always finding something to learn. Gary loved baseball, from Little League to Legion Ball to LaSalle Peru Cavaliers. He played with heart. At 12, his team came within 1 game of state before facing a powerhouse Kankakee team that went on to finish as national runners-up in the 1962 Little League World Series. As Gary might say, we didn't lose, we just ran into history. Gary never felt much urgency to leave the area, and that's because home had everything he needed: family, familiarity, and a strong sense of belonging, so it was a natural choice to follow his brothers and attend IVCC. At IVCC, Gary enjoyed the best of both worlds, strengthening friendships he already had while building new ones along the way. His time there also coincided with a unique period in the college's history. He began IVCC in the fall of 1967 on the LaSalle Peru Township High School campus, and by the time he graduated in 1969, he was on the new IVCC campus across the river. Many of his instructors were familiar faces from the LaSalle Peru High School, including Bob Schott, Bill Ubel, Les Hohenscheit, Bob Mueller, Kent Pishka, Ray Brawley, and Myrna Evans. It was in Myrna Evans' speech class that Gary delivered a persuasive speech on the death penalty, drawing ideas from a notable attorney, Clarence Darrow case. At the time, it was just an assignment, though in hindsight, it may have been an early hint at his future career. After the speech, Dr. Evans asked him to join the debate forensic team and deliver his speech in persuasive speaking competitions against other colleges. As a member of that team, Gary quickly learned that shyness doesn't last long. As he put it, if you were shy, you got over that pretty quickly, and clearly he did. That confidence showed when Gary served as one of the masters of ceremonies for the 1969 variety show Shindig, along with his co-MC, Steve Rickless, when they affectionately referred to IVCC as Plywood U and Harvard on the Hill. Keeping that show on track took poise, it took timing, humor, and maybe a little bravery, qualities Gary and Steve proved they had. Gary's time at IVCC was about more than just classrooms. It was about finding his voice, and somewhere along the way, he never lost it. After his time at IVCC, Gary continued his education at Northern Illinois University, earning degrees in political science and sociology, an ideal combination for understanding people and, at times, keeping them on the right path. Gary began his career as an intern with the LaSalle County Juvenile Probation Department. Soon after, he faced a big decision. Having been offered a job as a probation officer and accepted into law school. True to form, Gary chose not one, but both. This led to long days, working in Ottawa and driving to Chicago each evening to attend John Marshall Law School, a 4-hour daily commute that proves just how committed that he was, and that he definitely got his money's worth out of his car. Through hard work and leadership, Gary advanced to Chief Juvenile Probation Officer. In that role, Mr. Peterlin showed a deep commitment to helping young people find better paths for themselves. He introduced tutoring, reading programs, and a Big Brother program, efforts that made a lasting impact. When the LaSalle County Detention Home faced possible closure, he stepped up as a strong advocate, emphasizing the importance of housing our troubled youth in our local community instead of sending them to detention homes in big cities throughout the state. His leadership earned him the Good Government Award from the LaSalle Peru Oglesby Junior Chamber of Commerce. Mr. Peterlin also shared his knowledge as an instructor at IVCC, teaching law enforcement, juvenile court proceedings, and real estate. Because for Gary, serving the community wasn't just a career, it was something worth teaching too. Shortly after graduating from law school, Gary did something most can only consider. He ran for office and won. He served 2 terms as a LaSalle County State's Attorney from 1980 to 1988, earning recognition for his proactive, prevention-focused approach to justice, because Gary understood early that the best way to keep our communities safe is to deter crime from happening in the first place. During his tenure, he formed the state's attorney's task force on the sexual abuse of children. His office was recognized for excellence in arson prosecution by the Illinois State Fire Marshal and the Governor's Arson Advisory Board, making it clear that in LaSalle County, playing with fire had consequences. Gary recognizes that this work could only be accomplished with the dedication of his staff and cooperation of the local fire and police departments. He was also nominated to be on the National District Attorneys Association Board, was selected Vice President of the Illinois State's Attorneys Association, selected to serve on the Illinois Child Witness Task Force, and was appointed to the Illinois Task Force on Hazardous Waste. He also received commendation by iSearch and National Center for Missing and Exploited Children for his efforts on behalf of children. He led a successful legal challenge to the establishment of a hazardous waste landfill in LaSalle County, which posed a significant threat to our community's health and welfare. Gary also believed young people needed to be included in dealing with the drug issue. He founded the state's attorney's high school leadership conference on substance abuse, which continues today as a teen showcase at the college. And if you've ever tried to get hundreds of teenagers engaged at once, you know that that was probably one of your most impressive accomplishments. Thanks, Gary. Later, Gary served on the Illinois Gaming Board from 2002 to 2005, during a time when he made his mark as the lone vote, opposing the state's 10th casino license in Rosemont due to concerns about mob influence, proof that standing alone never stopped him. During this time, Gary garnered recognition and support from the Chicago media over his vigilance and commitment to the public, being a public watchdog over government programs and his ability to withstand political pressure. He also pushed for changes that benefited everyday people, including recovering child support from casino winnings, expanding job training, and sharing gaming revenue more broadly with host communities. He planted those seeds for many good ideas, in spite of opposition from the political system. However, many of these ideas later became law. In 2023, he was a recipient of a Cornerstone Award by IVAC. Through it all, Gary has remained guided by principle, community, and the courage to speak up, even when he's the only one doing so. And more often than not, he's been right. Gary and his wife Lana have shared more than 50 years of marriage, a true testament to love, partnership, and patience. Together they raised 4 children, Marshall, Brian, Jennifer, and Tara, and now enjoy 8 grandchildren, who no doubt keep life lively. He was always an engaged dad, making sure to coach every one of his children's baseball and softball teams. Gary has been a cornerstone of the Oglesby community. As a founding member of the Dickinson House Foundation, he helped preserve the historic 1941 building honoring Theodore Dixon. Today, he continues to serve as acting president, supporting a venue that hosts countless local events, complete with a 6-lane bowling alley, which might explain why some of those meetings tended to run a little bit longer. The Dickinson House has been part of Gary's life since childhood. He spent his days swimming, setting pins, and attending teen club. Gary's service extends well beyond one organization. For 25 years, he has also served on the 708 board, advocating for mental health awareness, funding, resources, and establishment of a mental health court across LaSalle County. He has also served as past president of the Oglesby Rotary Club and as a director and advisor for several organizations, including Alcohol and Drug Dependence Assistance Council, Against Domestic Violence Organization, Heartland Bank, St. Margaret's Hospital, and St. Bede Academy. In 1994, the Peterlin family further gave back by donating land from his childhood home to the city of Oglesby for a playground in memory of their parents, creating a space still enjoyed today. Gary has spent over 50 years in the legal field and continues to practice full-time as a partner at Perona, Peterlin, and Associates, with his associates Enrico Etoni and Edgar Lucero Castillo. Founded in 1918 by Paul Perona Sr. and later joined by his sons, Louis James and Paul Perona, two grandsons, Tom and Mike, as well as other partners including current Judge Jim Andrioni and Vince Brawley, the law firm is a long-standing, multi-generational presence in the Illinois Valley. Gary continues to be a fierce advocate for his clients while working full-time with his firm, advocating for clients who often become much more than clients. They become friends. He also remains deeply involved in causes that matter to him, serving still on the 708 Mental Health Board and most recently becoming an Illinois CASA advocate, volunteering his time and energy to support children who have experienced abuse and neglect. Gary's life reflects dedication, leadership, and community spirit. We proudly welcome Gary Peterlin into the IVCC-LPO Hall of Fame Class of 2026. Please join me in welcoming to the stage Gary Peterlin.
I think every time Susan Monroe talks, she gets me crying. But anyway, thank you. It's an honor to be here. It's difficult for me to describe how I feel about this recognition. I'm certainly grateful. However, my initial reaction when I got the call from Susan might best sum it up. Susan asked, "Is this Gary Peterlin?" I said, "Yes." She said, "You are selected to the IVCC Foundation Hall of Fame." My response, "Are you sure you have the right number and the correct person?" She began to laugh. I began to cry. I feel so small standing on this stage with so much the other honorees have done, so many other prior honorees. But it's great to be here. Thank you very much. It's great to have my family, lifelong friends, classmates, former roommates, co-workers, and fellow board members present. Many things can be accomplished by individuals, but much more can be accomplished by teamwork. I thank all of those who've been on the team along the way. It's gratifying to be associated with people of integrity, knowledge, and the ability not just to point out a problem, but to also work on solving the problem. When talking to a friend not so long ago, we talked about our ideas of hiring people. And I quipped, "It's always been my goal to hire people that are smarter than me." He quickly responded, "That shouldn't be very difficult." He's here today. You can guess who he is. I want to thank all my co-workers that I've been privileged to work with, and I want to thank them for being smarter than me. I extend my gratitude to so many along the way, starting with my parents, siblings, their spouses, my children, and family. I want to thank Lana. Together we celebrated over 50 years of marriage. Lana, I love you. Thank you. I had many great teachers along the way. Many were here at IVCC. My hat goes off to all those teachers, teachers everywhere. Teachers mold people and get them ready for the world. And some great teachers allowed me to go and pursue my goals. And many of us were blessed with those teachers right in these surroundings, over at our other schools that we attended. But God bless teachers. I want to especially thank, well, I want to say one thing. Just remember, IVCC, no place can take you so far. You've heard that slogan before. I especially want to thank my law firm, my brother-in-law, Paul Perona. It was my first job when I got out of law school, and the place I returned to after serving as state's attorney. Today, I'm pleased to have former members of the firm present: Judge Jim Andrioni, Vince Brawley. The firm's been great to me. I often thought it'd be cool to have a quotation linked to you, like Mahatma Gandhi or Abraham Lincoln or something like that. But thus far it hasn't happened. I don't know if it'll ever happen. But anyway, I have something I'm going to leave you with. And it's a saying, it's a slogan. When a speaker says he doesn't have anything else to say, the audience should stop listening. The speaker should stop talking. I'm done. But I do want to leave you with a quote. Not mine, but Denzel Washington. At the end, it's not about what you have or even what you've accomplished. It's about who you lifted up. It's about what you've given back. I tried. We got more to do. Thank you very much. Thank you, IVCC. Thank you. God bless.
I would like to now introduce Tracy Beatty, Executive Director of the Foundation, to announce our next inductee.
Okay, hello everyone. Our next inductee into the IVCC-LPO Hall of Fame, class of 2026, is Joe DeVera. Joe DeVera attended IVCC from 1972 to 1974. Joe was nominated by Mike Phillips, IVCC Geography and Geology instructor. Senior native Joe DeVera, Streeter native Joe DeVera, grew up with his parents and siblings in a working class family and was the first in his family to attend college. His interest in science began during visits to relatives in New Mexico, where he began collecting minerals. He was especially fascinated by olivine, a green mineral formed deep within the volcanoes. Growing up in the 1960s and 1970s, Joe was inspired by frequent newspaper coverage of the Project Mercury and Project Gemini space programs. These stories sparked his broad interest in astronomy, chemistry, biology, and geology. At the age of 10, Joe discovered a fossil that looked like a bug. Fascinated and full of questions about how it became preserved in stone, his curiosity was sparked, and a lifelong interest in science began. Joe often rode his bike to the railroad tracks around Streeter searching for dolomite specimens to add to his growing mineral collection. One day, when he cracked open a rock, he discovered a trilobite fossil inside. That moment fundamentally changed the course of his life. Filled with excitement, he immediately told his father that he wanted to become a paleontologist. Joe attended St. Stephen's School and later graduated from Streeter High School. In elementary school at St. Stephen's, religious instruction was emphasized more heavily than academics. And as a result, he did not feel academically prepared when he entered high school. Believing he would struggle more with advanced coursework, he enrolled in only one basic math class during high school. During his high school years, Joe was deeply involved in extracurricular activities, including cross-country, wrestling, and track. A strong athlete, he earned a varsity letter in both cross-country and track his freshman year. Beyond sports, he participated in Key Club, Science Club, chorus, and a folk music group. He also played in a band called the Harrison Hill Hillbillies, which performed throughout the Chicagoland area and the Illinois Valley. After high school, Joe attended Illinois Valley Community College from 1972 to 1974, during a time when classes were still held in Quonset huts before the transition into the new campus building. His time at IVCC was truly transformative and served as a springboard for his future success. At IVCC, Joe enrolled in a remedial algebra and geometry course to strengthen his math foundation that he needed to continue his education. He benefited greatly from supportive instructors, and he especially remembers one who excelled at teaching study skills to students who were struggling academically. Unfortunately, could not remember his name, but to this day, he remembers the instructor's famous quote, "It is not IQ, it is I will." He also recalls spending time between classes collecting fossils at a limestone outcrop along the river east of campus, as well as hanging out in the fireplace lounge. During spring break, instead of heading to the beaches with the sunshine like many of his peers, Joe and his friend Tony traveled to South Dakota's Badlands intentionally in March, the worst time of year to go. Despite the cold and snow, they found turtle fossils and orthodontic teeth, turning harsh conditions into unforgettable field experiences. Joe began his studies at Northern Illinois University in 1974, but took a break from school to perform professionally as a drummer with the Windy City Country, a country western band that played at the Lake in the Park Inn nightclub in Chicago, one of the premier music venues of the time. During those 3 years, he focused on music. He earned enough money to return to Northern Illinois University and complete his education one class at a time while working. Ultimately, he finished his geology degree in 1980. After completing his studies at NIU, Joe continued his education at Southern Illinois University, where he completed a master's degree in geology. At the same time, he worked as a well site geologist for Midland, Texas Exploration Incorporated, traveling extensively throughout Illinois and Indiana in search of oil within the Illinois Basin. This hands-on experience in the oil patch proved invaluable and provided a strong practical foundation for his career. Joe began his career with the Illinois State Geological Survey, ISGS, in 1985, and has since advanced from research assistant to his current role as principal scientist in paleontology. Over the course of his career, he has authored 59 geological maps covering much of southern Illinois and secured millions of dollars in grant funding. Since 2004, he has also served as an adjunct professor at Southern Illinois University, teaching mineralogy, paleontology, physical geology, carbonite petrography, and field geology. I did it. Oh, wow. Let's practice that for a bit. Joe's research contributions include discovering more than 500 marine fossils. He also identified a large nautiloid fossil, discovered a new type of fossil algae, and found evidence of ancient animal activity through research conducted at ISGS. Joe has contributed chapters to 4 books, further extending his impact on regional geological scholarship. He also collaborated with the University of Illinois on WIL programming and participated in a filmed feature on glacial geology with journalist Bill Curtis, helping bring geoscience topics to a broader public audience. One of Joe's favorite stories from the field comes from Dangola, where a local farmer had been disposing of rotten melons by dumping them into a sinkhole on his property. That night, heavy rain flushed the melons to the region's karst limestone drainage, carrying them through the underground passages, and by morning, thousands of pale egg-shaped melons had reappeared in a creek running through downtown Dangola. Some residents, startled by the unusual sight, briefly thought that they were looking at alien eggs. The incident became a memorable example in Joe's career of how interconnected karst systems can be and how easily sinkholes can transport materials far from their point of origin, highlighting the risks of using them for waste disposal. Joe has produced dozens of presentations, articles, and other scholarly contributions in the fields of paleontology, stratigraphy, and geological mapping. He discovered a large fish scale from a giant freshwater fish previously known from Kentucky and portions of the Illinois basin, but not previously documented in Illinois, adding an important new contribution to the regional fossil work. His work also included collaborations with scientists from across the country, including researchers at the Field Museum and the Smithsonian Institution, contributing to broader efforts in paleontology and geological research. Joe has spent more than 25 years conducting education programs at Dixon Springs Stewardship Week, an educational initiative run by the U of I Forestry Department at the Dixon Springs Agricultural Center. The program reaches approximately 2,000 students per week each year across 35 states, providing hands-on environmental and earth science education to thousands of participants nationwide. He regularly gives talks and leads geology hikes at Granite City State Park in Maconda, Illinois, which he calls the Star Rock of Southern Illinois. In addition, Joe conducts workshops such as Teach the Teachers and Sciences Near and Far, designed to educate high school teachers on geology, plate tectonics, and related earth science topics. That passion for community involvement stems from his child experiences at St. Stephen's School, where he recalls that no scientist ever visited to speak with students. He has since dedicated himself to giving back by providing the kind of inspiration and scientific exposure that he wishes he had as a child. Outside of his professional work, Joe has a son, daughter-in-law, and 2 grandchildren who live in Florida. He looks forward to visiting them as often as possible. In his current role, Joe runs the Illinois Geological Survey field office located in the Dunn-Richmond Center on the Southern Illinois University campus. More recently, Joe contributed to a multi-institutional effort alongside Mike Phillips from Illinois Valley Community College, Roy Plotnick from the University of Illinois Chicago, faculty from Northern Illinois University, and other collaborators to help establish a fossil park on land donated between Starbuck State Park and Matheson State Park. The proposed site includes a relatively safe limestone quarry designed to support educational fossil collecting and hands-on learning experiences for students and visitors. Joe's journey ultimately reflects a lifelong commitment to curiosity, perseverance, and giving back. From a young fossil hunting student unsure of his academic future to a respected geoscientist and educator, he has remained grounded in the same wonder that first drew him to science. His career stands as both a scientific legacy and a testament to the impact of encouragement, hands-on learning, and the belief that curiosity, more than anything else, can shape a meaningful and influential life. We proudly welcome Joe DeVera into the IVCC-LPO Hall of Fame Class of 2026. Please join me in welcoming to the stage Joe DeVera.
Well, I think one of the reasons I'm up here is Mike said we've got to have a geologist in the Hall of Fame. So I guess I'm it, folks. No, but what's really something about Illinois Valley Community College and LPO is it really did focus me when I needed to have focus. In high school, well, I had a good time. I don't think I studied much, but when I got here, I realized that if I wanted to be a paleontologist, I had to start putting some effort in. And there were really good instructors here, and a number of them really focused my attention on, you can do it. And this was invaluable to me. And it's really helped me now to help students at Southern Illinois University and various students that come to me. I've had one about in 22 came up to me and just came to my office and said, "I want to be a paleontologist." And I said, "You came to the right place." And right now he is starting his PhD in Uppsala, Sweden, working on fossils in Southern Illinois. So this is so rewarding. I can see why teachers teach, because it's incredibly rewarding. And I've got a new student now from Colorado. Her name is Rayla Hefner, and she is carrying on the work of this big rhizodont. The scale that I found is a rhizodont, a fish that's like 10 feet long and had lobe fins, so it could crawl out of the water, grab something, and spin just like an alligator back in the Mississippi in about 335 million years ago. So, but yeah, so it's really, really great to be here, and I'm honored, and I'm really glad you guys were able to select a geologist. Thank you.
Our next inductee into the IVCC-LPO Hall of Fame class of 2026 is Fran Brawley. Attended IVCC from 1978 to 1980. Fran was nominated by Dr. Jerry Corcoran, IVCC's 10th president, and Vince Brawley, former IVCC psychology instructor and Fran's brother. Fran Brawley grew up in the LaSalle-Oglesby area as part of a large, energetic family that truly valued life's simple pleasures. The Brawley household included 8 siblings: Vince, Mary, Linda, Fran, John, Bernie, and twins, Ann and Paula. All born within roughly a 10-year span. God bless their mother, Therese, who somehow managed it all. Fran began his early education at St. Pat's Grade School in LaSalle, finishing at Holy Family Grade School in Oglesby, and graduating in 1978 from St. Bede High School, now known as St. Bede Academy. Like many of us, Fran's childhood memories center around simple joys that defined growing up in this area, things like Frank's and Beans for dinner, trips to Sandy's fast food restaurant, and the weekly highlight when his dad Ray would come home with a dozen donuts from Pearson's Bakery. Now, with 8 kids in the house, a dozen donuts didn't last very long, so timing, speed, and strategy were probably important life skills developed early. The Brawley family's connection to LPO and IVCC spans multiple generations, beginning in 1947 and continuing today. Both of Fran's parents attended LPO. His father, Ray, played football there and would later go on to teach English at LaSalle Peru High School for 16 years before transitioning to IVCC when the college moved across the river. Fran's mother, Therese, also attended LPO before beginning a short teaching career, eventually dedicating herself full-time to raising their 8 children. 7 of the 8 Brawley siblings attended IVCC, and his older brother, Vince, taught psychology and business law at IVCC. It's safe to say IVCC has been a part of the Brawley family's story for a very long time. Fran began attending IVCC in the late 1970s, where the relationships he developed with faculty played a major role in shaping his future. He recalls influential instructors such as Gil Meyer, Jack Boswell, Bill Ubel, Ed Krolak, Mary Margaret Weed, and Rosie Lynch. Fran once said that one of the things that stood out most at IVCC was the faculty treated students like adults, which after high school was both refreshing and maybe just a little bit surprising. It was under the guidance of Rosie Lynch, advisor for the Apache newspaper, that Fran began his work as a reporter. Dr. Lynch emphasized the importance of accuracy, checking your sources, impartiality, and accountability, principles that would carry through Fran's entire career. Of course, not all learning at IVCC happened in the classroom. Fran fondly remembers noon basketball games, time spent in the Learning Resource Center, which functioned just as much as a social hub as a study space, and plenty of foosball, pinball, and those of you that went to IVCC, the famous euchre game. Let's be honest, some very important life skills were developed there as well. Football games at Howard Fellows Stadium was another highlight, bringing together students in the community. Fran appreciated the smaller class sizes at IVCC, where instructors knew you by name, something that would contrast sharply with the large lecture halls at universities. After IVCC, Fran transferred to Eastern Illinois University, where he continued pursuing journalism. At EIU, Fran worked for the Daily Eastern News, the university student paper. While many students spent long hours in the library, Fran found his own solution, setting up a study space in the basement of the house where he lived. It wasn't exactly glamorous, but with a borrowed Selectric typewriter and a little determination, it worked. Sometimes productivity just requires a quiet corner, even if that corner is a dimly lit basement. Fran also enjoyed intramural sports and took part in football and basketball, and in true college fashion, he recalls hitchhiking to Halloween celebrations at Southern Illinois University, something that probably sounded like a great idea at the time and somehow turned into a lasting memory. He completed his bachelor's degree in journalism at EIU and later earned a master's degree in communication from Governors State University. Fran's professional career in journalism followed a path similar to that of his St. Bede friend, Bill Wimbiscus. Fran worked as an editor for the Minneapolis News in Iowa and as a reporter for the Daily Gate City in Keokuk, Iowa, before he returned to the Illinois Valley to work for the News Tribune. At the News Tribune, he covered LaSalle City Council and the County Board, and importantly, the IVCC Board. Covering those IVCC meetings would ultimately reconnect him with the institution that played such a foundational role in his life. In 1988, Fran joined IVCC as Assistant Director of Public Information, a position originally expected to last just 2 years. As it turns out, that plan changed just a little bit. Fran found a home at IVCC, working under his mentor, Bill Danley, for 6 years before eventually taking over as the Director of Public Information. In that role, Fran handled sports coverage, press releases, board meeting coverage, and events. He also embraced photography, developing black and white film in his own darkroom. And for those who remember that process, it required patience, and it required precision and a willingness to smell like chemicals for a good portion of the day. One of his most memorable early accomplishments was helping organize IVCC's 70th anniversary celebration in 1994 alongside Bill Danley. During the late 1990s and early 2000s, Fran played a major role, major branding initiatives that shaped IVCC's identity. This included the well-known jingle we just heard, "No place so close can take you so far," IVCC, along with the creation of the college's logo featuring the shield and flame. So for those of you that don't know IVC, we're going to go ahead and play a little bit for you.
No place so close can take you so far. Illinois Valley Community College, IVCC. No matter who you are, no matter how far you want to go. Illinois Valley Community College, no place so close can take you so far. IVCC.
I figured you wouldn't want to hear me sing that, so. It was also during this time that the college mascot transitioned from the Apaches to the Eagles following a student government election, and the Apache newspaper became the Ivy Leader. As the role of development expanded within community colleges, Fran transitioned in 2003 to Director of Development. And in 2009, with added leadership of marketing, he became Director of Community Relations and Development. Dr. Corcoran summed up Fran's impact by saying, "Fran Brawley has always been the most hardworking, loyal, and results-driven person I know. He retired as the most prolific fundraiser in the college's history." His funding accomplishments were significant, including a $2.1 million capital campaign for the Peter Miller Community Technology Center, $720,000 raised for scholarship support, major bequests that led to naming opportunities, including the Dr. Mary Margaret Weed Cultural Center that we are in, and the Ralph Scriba Conference Center where we will be after. His awards included finalist for the Illinois Community College Trustees Association Ethical Leadership Award, recipient of the 2026 Community Cornerstone Award as part of IVAC's Champion of Change Awards. But beyond the numbers, Fran often said the most meaningful part of his work was standing beside students, helping open doors through scholarships and giving them the opportunity to pursue their education. Fran also initiated the creation of this IVCC-LPO Hall of Fame in 2008. His most memorable induction was when his father, Ray, was honored, an experience he describes as unforgettable. And while that may be true, some might argue that another memorable moment was when Fran finished as runner-up in the 2008 Illinois Valley Cellular's Dancing with the Stars. And Vince has got the proof for that. A reminder that fundraising takes many forms, and apparently dancing was one of them. Today, Fran lives in Shorewood, Illinois with his wife, Mary. Despite moving a bit farther from the Illinois Valley, he remains deeply connected to both the community and his family. A former single parent of 5 children, Fran now enjoys his role as a grandfather to 10 grandchildren, ranging in age from 2 to 18. After raising 5 kids, 10 grandchildren, probably feels a little bit familiar, just with a little more time to enjoy it. Encouraged by Jay McCracken, Fran joined the Lighted Way board and has now served for 10 years, currently as its president. He continues to find ways to give back and remain active in local initiatives and will soon be joining another board in Peru. Fran keeps active by participating in the Starved Rock Runners Run Club every Wednesday evening. And if you ask him, that probably counts as both exercise and his social time. He also continues the long-standing tradition of the annual fishing trip with his buddies. Fran officially retired from IVCC in 2023, but continued his work in the nonprofit sector as CEO of the Starved Rock Country Community Foundation before stepping down from that role as well. Fran is now truly retired, although he occasionally hints at new opportunities. Fran, if we can offer just a little advice, retirement is something you've more than earned. But knowing you, we have a feeling you're not quite finished yet. And both Donna and I would love to thank you for the opportunity to having worked with you in our IVCC Foundation. Thank you so much. And we actually have a special message for you.
Congratulations, Pops, on being selected to the IVCC Hall of Fame. If there was ever a shoo-in to get the gold jacket, it'd be you. Your dedication and steady presence for over 35 years has led you to become a pillar of the institution and a role model for your family. I'll always remember stopping by your office to say hi and the reverence and nostalgia with which you spoke of Noonball. Congratulations, Pops.
Congratulations, Fran.
Love
we love
you.
you.
We proudly welcome Fran Brawley into the IVCC-LPO Hall of Fame class of 2026. Please join me in welcoming to the stage Fran Brawley.
Vince is back there with the disco picture if anybody needs to see it afterward.
Thank you, Susan, for that moving and beautiful introduction. And I had feared that this is going to be a roast. So this is great. I am not one to exaggerate, but in this case, you've done it for me. This is deeply appreciated by me and my family. We've been connected, as Susan said, to IVCC for 80 years, since my father attended LPO in 1946-47 among a battalion of returning World War II veterans. It's an honor to share the stage today with such accomplished alumni, remarkable, as Susan, Joe, Gary, and Therese. As Susan said, when I started at IVCC, my position was only supposed to last 2 to 3 years, but they just could not get rid of me. I enjoyed college work life so much under a mentor in Bill Danley. I love that every year we welcome fresh new faces, some incoming freshmen from high school, fresh out of high school, and others adults, but all with high aspirations. Behind top-notch faculty, staff, and administrators, Ivy never lost sight of its students' first focus. And for my part, we could not have achieved what we did without the heart of our organization, my former work wife, Donna Swiskoski. Donna Swiskoski, there she is. Thank you so much, Donna, for doing everything to get students the help and support they needed to get into school and to get through school. Thank you, Susan, for alumni finding our way to major donors across the country. And can we give Susan a hand for the superb job she did today with the presentations? I have to mention Reed Wilson, who stewarded our campaigns by lending his extensive experience, expertise, and vital connections. And we enjoyed tremendous board support throughout, with O.J. Stoutner, Dr. Sue Schmidt, Jim Loveland, Jane Getz, Jane McCracken, the great Bill Hunt, Dr. Frank Zeller, and Rini Rebels. A wonderful board leadership. And I don't like to correct my former boss, but I am not IVCC's most prolific fundraiser. That honor belongs to my former boss, Jerry Corcoran. When Jerry set a campaign target, he provided us with the leadership, the attention, and encouragement we needed to reach it. He was an ego-less leader. Jerry deflected praise and instead recognized his staff for our wins. In my opinion, he was the greatest builder, fundraiser, and visionary in our history, IVCC's most consequential president. Can we please give Jerry Corcoran a hand? It was no surprise to me that it was Jerry and my brother Vince who nominated me for this honor. You both have my love and appreciation. Can we also give Vince a hand? He's wrapping up a superb 27-year teaching career here in August. Vince Broward. If time allowed, I'd recognize my children, grandchildren, and siblings by name, but just know how much I love and cherish each one of you. To have you all here, it's exceptional. I'll never forget it. A special thanks to my beautiful wife, Mary, for providing me a rich, contented, and happy life. Also here today, our longtime friends from Holy Family, St. Bede's class of 78, and IVCC. Gang, it's on me tonight at Lou's. Finally, thank you, Donna, Sue, Dr. Morris, and Executive Director Tracy Beatty for restoring the Hall of Fame. You're doing groundbreaking work with the foundation, and I feel so fortunate to remain associated with it and with you. Blessings to you all. Thank you.
Fran, you might as well just stay there. So before our final ovation for these remarkable inductees, Tracy Beatty will close with a few words of appreciation. If I could have all inductees kind of make their way up, or their representatives up here to my right, and bring your certificate with you, and that way we will be doing some pictures afterwards. And Tracy?
right, we would like to give our deepest appreciation to our selection committee. Lori Chenote, Dawn Lockwood, Jay McCracken, Jennifer Scarry, Danica Skoma, OJ Stoutner. Thank you so much for your time and dedication in reading and scoring our nominations. Thank you to our technical coordinator, Chad Brokaw, who also has live streamed this event for family and friends that could not attend. Thank you to our photographer, Angela Dunlap, who will be available after our inductee pictures for any family or friend photos that you would like. And thank you to our marketing team of Madonna Duncan, Peggy Schneider, Carson Grom, Bob Hunter, and Catherine Swigger for assisting us with the marketing of this event. Thank you to Chef Sarah Fitzpatrick for providing us with appetizer trays, which you will see in CTC 123124 after this. And also, there are tables in between where you can have seating and lots of goodies. So thank you to Brianna Marani of our Copy Center, who is always there to make sure our invitations and programs look great. And thank you to our facilities for always assisting with scheduling, setup, takedown of our events and all. And for Ryan, especially Dell and Geraldine. And last and most importantly, we want to thank our IVCC Foundation directors for their dedication to our students and programs like this one today. We encourage you to join our Illinois Valley Community College Foundation and Alumni Association Facebook page to try to stay up to date on all our latest news and events. I also want to thank, I lied, it wasn't the last one. I want to thank, of course, Susan and Donna for doing a phenomenal job. Susan, this is her passion project. She spent endless hours putting this together and really put her heart into it, which I know all the nominees felt that. She really took time to make sure that she told your story as well as she could. And thank you for all of you for coming today. We're just so happy to have such great supporters, and what a great crowd today. Now, if you could please stand and welcome again our 5 inductees into the IVCC-LPO Hall of Fame, class of 2026.